which has been officially recognized and observed since the first democratic elections in 1994. The holiday serves as both a celebration of workers' rights and as a reminder of the critical role that trade unions play in the lives of workers. Well, to speak further now, and we speak to a man who started AMCU, that is President Joseph Mathunjwa. Mr. Mathunjwa, good morning to you, and thank you very much for your time. Your union was formed back in the late 90s, and formally it became a union recognized by the South African government in 2001 as a union celebrating Workers' Day. How much progress has been made?
Good morning to you and good morning to your viewers. Yes, today it's a World International Solidarity Workers' Day, which was first celebrated, commemorated in 1st May 1890. Yes, we do recognize this day as much as the events has overtaken this day, in particular in South Africa, the Marikana Sibanye-Stillwater massacre, where the democratic elected government turned the guns against its own electorate people who put them to power while protecting the interests of the foreign direct interest. Yes, I will speak on AMCU. As AMCU, I think the work that we have done to change the lives of the working class where we are representing workers, it has changed. You'll remember yourself that from the Marikana loan mean, workers were earning 4,000 rand a month, hence they were demanding 12,500. As the results, the government, serving the interests of neoliberalism, of the white monopoly capital, massacred 34 mine workers. But today, I can report back to the nation of South Africans that there is no worker at Lonmin Marikana Sibanye-Stillwater who goes underground less than 15,000 as a basic salary without including the benefits.
Yeah. Well, let's look ahead then, Mr. Mathunjwa. The challenges ahead. You have mentioned the Marikana struggle, and you were right at the center of that particular struggle. And as you say today, that workers are paid somewhat of a decent wage. Let's look ahead to the problems going into the future. Does it worry you that some workers in South Africa don't see the use of being in a union?
Yeah, I think things are changing. For the union to be relevant, the union should be independent. The union must be workers' controlled. So I cannot speak on other trade unions, but as for AMCU is still relevant, as much that we are facing with retrenchment every day. You'll remember yourself, because you were right in the center of the Marikana massacre. You'll remember that if the state has tried many times, and that was echoed again in the Zondo Commission, that the state has formed several unions to undermine AMCU. You remember. Because they saw very clear that AMCU is a militant trade union but still carrying the mandate of the workers. So if AMCU was not in these sectors, I'm telling you, those workers wouldn't even see the relevance of the trade union. But for the workers today, they still see the relevance of AMCU, in their workspaces. The challenge is, yes, it will be the industrial revolution that is coming, whereby the skills development is still voluntarily on the companies, of which that need to be amended by the state. It should be mandatory, because I think they are limiting at about 40%, and the employers, they are skilling the workers voluntarily. So it must be mandatory in order to have more workers who are skilled, that to counter this fourth industrial revolution. And furthermore, trade unions will be still facing problems, because the government is embracing neoliberal economic policies, of which pushes the austerity, unemployment, and poverty. So therefore, all these independent power producers, privatization based on these neoliberal economic policies of the ISCOM, of the RAA, we're still going to see a vast unemployment in this country, because we know for sure that our government has neglected its mandate of representing the nation or the people of South Africa and relegated their work to the private sector, of which the private sector is just to promote profit in the expense of the country and its autonomy.
Yeah. As we look ahead, Mr. Mathunjwa, you've mentioned the fourth industrial revolution, and indeed the world of work now is heading towards that route. A union like yours, how are you taking advantage of this period in order to make yourself continue to be relevant as the years go? Because the fear here is that much of the unions that existed before are dying a slow death.
You are correct. We were very proactive. As early as 2017, from my desk, I've written to all the CEOs to do the skills audit and also to make presentation that as we move forward, what kind of skills will be needed. But even today, none of these executives, the CEO, responded to that letter, of which, again, it's clear that the agenda that they are pushing is a neoliberal agenda, of which they have to exchange, workers, with the technology, of which we are not paid. Hence, my earlier statement that I've just said to you, I said, we need to make sure that the government amend the Skills Development Act to make it mandatory, not voluntarily as they did, in order to counter the very same challenge that we'll be facing.
Yeah. Mr. Mathunjwa, as we observe this day being Workers' Day, you have also been at the forefront alongside other organizations, political parties included, in the Lily Mine issue. It's been many years with some people still camping outside that mine. 3 workers were swallowed literally by the earth when their container they were working in sunk into that particular hole. It's been many years, you trying to have the container retrieved. How are those families doing?
On behalf of the families, as we know, everyone who lost their loved ones, especially not having a closure, it will be an open wound. You remember from the days of the former state president, Babu Zuma, AMCU was in the forefront to try to persuade the government, of which the government never responded. Even with the current sitting state president, we've written to his office, to himself, requesting his assistance, because we thought that the sitting state president will have a soft heart, because he's a former trade unionist. He was our leader during the days when we were still with the National Union of Mine Workers. We even written to Babu Gwede Mdashe, the current minister of the MRE, because he was also our secretary during the National Union of Mine Workers days. But all our effort fell into the deaf ears. And it's only the state, I've been saying, even to the families, even to the South Africans, that the government is got the fullest right to retrieve that, because they are the custodian of the minerals of this country, are the one who are issuing the licenses. It's so embarrassing that our government is so proactive on international rescue missions. Like, for instance, recently in Turkey, they were there, but they cannot just help their own. Charity begins at home. Today, the Lily Mine is becoming a football pitch for political expediency for those that they're still gunning for, people to follow them or to vote for them. 7 years at Lily Mine, with the country that is being regarded having a best constitution in the world, but they cannot serve their own people. What does it call? That's why I kept on saying, South Africa is a failed state. We can try to dodge and try to are as much as is a failed state, no security in this country. Unemployment is right. We are the capital retailing center of the world. We consume food that we don't manufacture. We wear clothes that we don't manufacture. With all the minerals and the opportunities, with all mineral resources and endowment that God gave us, we cannot utilize them. We just extract them and ship it out of the country and bring poverty in the country. The only infrastructure that we are building are malls, whereby we are buying food and clothes that we don't manufacture. Can't we come to industrialization with the beneficiations of this mineral? This unemployment and this inequality is a self-made, self-inflicted wound by our own government. Africa does not need Europe in the true sense. Europe needs us more than we need them. All the resources that are extracted in Africa is to develop Europe. And for us, we are not designed to be developed, but we are designed to be just a hunting ground for other countries. Look at BRICS instance. I mean, what are we contributing in BRICS? All those countries, in the end, is about the software. Russia is about military, is about gas and energy. What are we bringing in the table? We are just there just to consume what is manufactured by these BRICS countries. It's a joke.
AMCU President Joseph Mathunjwa, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.